All right, good to see everybody, and we're good to be back at home. Just wrapping up Georgia Tech. I think one of those games, in some ways, we snatched a defeat from the jaws of victory. Felt great about the game right before the half. When you get an option team up 2 scores, you're usually in pretty good position. When we went up 21-10. And you'd really say the next 5 minutes swung the whole game. We have a really, really bad personal foul, which leads to a field goal. We start out the second half. We have a false start. We have a miscommunication. We end up punting the ball from our end zone to midfield 1 play later. And, we never got back in a rhythm on offense. We gave up some big plays on defense. And it's 3 weeks in a row, at least 2 of the 3 weeks, that we've been in a position to beat a good football team, and we don't close the deal. That we have these lulls, and at times, I don't know if it's relax or get comfortable, and against teams the caliber of Florida State, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Louisville, or anyone else on our schedule, these guys can make you pay in a heartbeat, and Georgia Tech did that. In the second half, they had a 49, 42, and a 70-yard run. And that's the football game. And our offense's lack of ability to score points in the second half, we got off schedule. We didn't convert 3rd and shorts and 4th and shorts. And that's the football game. So our guys are competing. They're going hard. We're putting ourselves in a position to compete and be in a position to win games against good football teams. But we need to take that next step and learn how to close the deal. And that's what we're not doing right now. We're not closing. And this week with Louisville, it's another opportunity, to play and try to win a game at home against another good football team. Obviously, the defending Heisman Trophy winner. They've got the #1 offense in the ACC. They're 550 yards a game, #1 scoring offense. Lamar is the Heisman Trophy winner, an incredibly dynamic player. He is the fastest guy in the field at all times against everybody they play. It's just some of the things he does is amazing. And he throws the ball extremely well. He reads coverages well. Bonifin, the tailback, has really developed into a good back. For a guy who started as quarterback against us 3 years ago, he's really become an elite running back. He runs well, he catches the ball, he's physical, he can make people miss. They've always had big receivers. The Smith kid is 6'4", 215, 220. He's a dynamic playmaker. All their receivers can run and make plays. Their tight ends are very good pass catchers. Their offensive line is big and physical. And on defense, they've always had good players. And they've got a number of guys on defense, whether it's Hearns or the corner, linebackers. These guys are going to play in the NFL, and they're probably coming off their best defensive effort. So, again, this is ACC football. Every week, you got to strap it up, and you got to play your best game to give yourself a shot. And this week will be another great challenge for us.
You mentioned not being able to finish, and you mentioned on Saturday after the game not being able to play a full 60-minute game against these elite teams. Is that something that just has to come on a Saturday? Is there anything you can do during these weeks to get it?
Well, we talked about it with the captains. We talked about it with the team. And I think, the gist of it is against these teams, you can never, ever relax. We twice now have had 2-score leads against Florida State and Georgia Tech. And what has been our immediate response? We went up 2 scores against Florida State, and we gave up a huge kick return, which led to a touchdown. And our response against Georgia Tech is we make a bonehead play, which gives them a field goal, and we respond by snapping the ball with the quarterback not there and giving the ball at midfield and giving up, when maybe some of the teams earlier in our schedule, you could have that lull and recover from it. If you take a deep breath against any of these teams, it's over. And, we maybe probably haven't had to ever do that. We've been in competitive games against, I think, the upper half of this league, probably for the first time, in real games, not games that we were 0-0 or 6-3 or fluky games, real games that we're moving the ball on offense and we're scoring points and we're in a back and forth game. And you know, I don't, has our defense ever had to play with a 2-score lead against an ACC team? You know, I think our offense is used to 3 years here. If you score 24 points, you're going to win, because we rarely scored over 20 points against an ACC team. Our defense never played with a 2-score lead. When we did, even last year, we didn't play well. I mean, some of our probably worst defensive efforts last year were games that we had a 2-score lead. You know, late in the Duke game, Indiana the second half, the bowl game that we had a big lead. You know, when we're in those games that every drive and every play could mean the game, we've been fine. But I just think, you know, I don't know if it's mentally, you know, there's a pause and there's a relaxation, and Georgia Tech responds with a 49-yard play, or Florida State responds with a 70-yard kickoff return. And you can never, ever take your foot off the gas against good football teams. And right now, mentally, we do that. And that's something that we've got to do a better job as coaches. And you know, the emphasis in practice is every rep matters, just like every play in a game like this matters. You know, the one play that you don't read your key, or your eyes are in the wrong place, or you're not locked in, that could be the football game. It's an easy crowd.
Is this going to be the end of the Louisville WikiLeaks saga?
To me, the end was last year. So I mean, we've put that behind us, and you know, we'd appreciate it if you guys would too. So I know the question's going to come up, but we've put this thing to bed, and you know, we've moved on from it.
It's created an odd little rivalry, though.
I think more press generated than, you know, our players had nothing to do with this. Our coaches had nothing to do with it. So it just, you know, if that's the case, there'd be a number of rivalries because of this, and we're not going to go that way. That's, you know, we're not going to go low with it.
Have you ever discussed it with Katrina?
Nope.
And did you and Lamar ever talk or anything after he said that you were the one that?
I never said that. I don't think, I have no idea where that came from, and I don't know how you even respond to something you didn't say. So, I mean, he is an elite player. He is one of the best quarterbacks we've ever faced in our time here. I don't know who said that, but it's not something I would ever say, nor does it even accurately or even in the zip code reflect what type of player I think he is. So I would never disparage a young man like that anyways. So he's an elite, phenomenal player, and I don't know who said that, but it was not this coach.
Thanks, Dave.
Looking at their defense, earlier this year they had some trouble with the passing game. Do you see any way of exposing that this week?
Well, I mean, we game plan, and there's certainly ways that we're going to try to get open. You know, but they're a very talented defense, and I think they have a new staff and a new coordinator, and you know, just like we have a new staff and a new coordinator, and we're going through some growing pains with it. But I think they really settled down a week ago. I thought against Florida State, they played their best defensive football game of the year. I mean, they defended well, they rushed the passer extremely well, they put pressure on the quarterback. They're still top quarter of the league in terms of their defensive personnel. And we have never, ever moved the football against these guys consistently.
What is the biggest difference between this year's Louisville team and the team you faced last year? What's the biggest difference?
I mean, it's hard to say there is a big difference. They're averaging 550 yards a game. They've got a quarterback, number 8, who's a phenomenal player. Their receivers are big, physical, and they're fast. Their offensive line averages 6'4", 6'3", 315 pounds. They've got a really, really good defensive line with great edge rushers. They've got a secondary that can run and tackle, and corners who can cover. I mean, you know, they've lost, you know, 2 really tight games, and you know, their other losses to the defending national champions who played really well against them. I mean, this is easily, you know, what are they, 5-3? So to me, they're you know, easily could be a 7-1 team. I mean, the NC State game was a fourth quarter competitive game, and, you know, BC was, they really, that game could have been either way. So, you know, this league is good. Everybody in our conference is good. I mean, you know, you talk to coaches before the game in the conference, and it's just, to me, the gap in this league from the top to the bottom has never been tighter. And if you ever don't show up, you're going to get blown out. And if you don't bring your best, it's going to be a long day. And you've got to play well against everybody. I think right now in this league, anybody can beat anybody.
Having lost 3 straight, is there any more urgency? I know every week is go 1-0, but is there more urgency given?
There's always urgency. You know, I mean, you want to have that feeling in the locker room afterwards of winning. I mean, there's nothing that takes the place of it. When you win, you don't do everything right, and when you lose, you don't do everything poorly. I mean, we played, I thought, the first half at Georgia Tech, one of the best half of football that we've played in 4 years. And then we followed it up with one of the worst halves. You know, so nothing's all good, nothing's all bad. I mean, we're still, I think, growing as a program. You know, I told our players, I mean, our kids put their heart and soul into that game, and afterwards they were crushed. And I said, well, you can keep pushing and give ourselves a position to win these games, or, you know, if you stop pushing, these games will be 52-7. So, you know, you've got to put all that work in and all that time in and make all that investment just to be competitive with our schedule. And this week and the following week and the week after that and after that and after that, it's all the same. Every game is going to be against good teams and good players, and they each have their unique challenges, but we just got to try to get better. And again, in some ways, I think we've played, in some ways, better football at times during the 3 losses than we did during the 4 wins. You know, but the competition and who you play has something to do with it. You know, we've played 3, I think, really good football teams, very talented teams.
I know you've talked, and your players have talked a lot about the 24-hour rule, you know, often. And you referenced this a second ago. Your team seemed fairly crushed at the end of that game Saturday. A couple of the guys had said that you had some good words to share with them Sunday night. What was the kind of sentiment? What did you share with them to try to get them to move past this and look forward?
You know, it was just some of the things I shared with them, that I thought they played their hearts out. I thought they put everything out there. I thought they worked their butts off in terms of preparation. And all those things you do is give you an opportunity to win. If you ever stop doing those things, you don't even have a chance. And guess what? We got to come back and do it again. And, you know, half the teams in the country probably right now are losing records and half have winning. We're still a winning football team. We can still have a good season. We still have opportunities to have one of those big wins against an elite team and embrace the challenge of what's ahead of us. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay. I'm paraphrasing.
The more important thing is how your players internalize that.
We had a good practice today. We have competitors on our football team, and we have guys that love football. And, you know, it's human nature. When you're winning, everything's great, and when you're losing, but we have guys that have been through it. We still have a lot to play for. You know, we're still right now, we have a chance to have a really good season.
From a staff perspective, from a coaching perspective, is there anything that you wish you had thrown out there differently, maybe in that second half, to kind of change things up?
I mean, we've talked about it. You know, what are we doing out of the halftime? You know, I mean, we came out, it was just a lull. You know, and I just thought after that first half, I mean, one of the messages to the team at halftime is just keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. This is a good football team. Just keep making plays, keep driving the ball, keep tackling, keep reading your keys, just keep doing what you're doing. And we didn't. You know, we didn't. We got away from ourselves offensively. You know, defensively, we allowed those, you know, we misfit the counterplay. You know, we had the pitch player went to the quarterback for some inexplicable reason on the 42-yard play. You know, and it just, against a team and that quarterback and the team speed they have, if you misread something and misfit something, it's not a 12-yard play, it's a 40-yard play. And this week with number 8, it's no different. I mean, last year we defended them well, and then, you know, they ran a split zone read, and we didn't have a tackle come under, and next thing you know, it's a 60, 70-yard play, and that kind of opened the game up. So it just, you can never, ever relax against good football teams. You know, and there's a balance. You know, you can't be all stressed out every play either, but, you know, you've got to play with a focused confidence, and, you know, the focus can't be so extreme that you're tight, but the confidence can't be so relaxed that you're not locked into what you have to do. And there's a really good balance that good football teams have. And at times this year we've had it, and at times we've kind of lost that focus, and it's hurt us.